Okay, welcome everyone. So the purpose of this video is to discuss the topic, how much does it cost to build a home in 2023? Now, while I'm sure most of you are aware right up front that answering this question is kind of like answering how tall is a tree, in that it lacks many parameters that would be required to give a concrete and specific or useful answer. So what are those pre-founding criteria that are required to accurately answer this question? Some of the most important will start with your market. Are you on the East Coast? Are you in downtown Toronto or the GTA region? Are you in Vancouver? Are you in Saskatchewan? Every one of these markets is going to have its own fundamental discrepancies, not the least of which is the price of land, but which moves on to the cost of labor in that area and the cost of materials locally. Some areas which will have advantages with certain materials, and others which will have definite advantages with labor. So we have several inputs to consider. Your market is first and foremost, and then from there there's several other criteria we have to drill down into to think, how do we talk about this intelligently if you're somebody who's actually thinking about building a home, either as the GC yourself or when it comes to hiring a builder. And that's going to be one of the next main criterias or paths you need to filter down is, am I taking on the GC role and removing the builder's margin from this project, or am I hiring a turnkey builder? And how is that going to look as far as cost goes? Now, if we go down the builder cost route first, because that's the easiest one to discuss, and it's going to be the easiest one for you to get answers on, that is going to vary on a whole other subset of factors, which we'll drill into a little bit here. And of course, most of them relate to quality of construction. Not to mention also size is another factor, but we'll get into that in a minute. So quality of construction, what's the level of finishings that you're using inside of your home? Are you using laminate countertops? Or are you using solid surface tops? Do you have a relatively manageable roof slope? Or do you have this crazy 12-12 pitch, which is going to make it harder for your framers to build the roof to begin with, harder for your roofers to install the shingles, and harder for everyone else to operate on, and more wood being used for the exact same interior square footage size. All these things are going to add up to help us drill down into what your cost per square foot is going to be. And of course, the more things you do that add expense to your build, the more expensive your price per square foot would be. So you need to have a clear picture of what type of home you're talking about. Now, I know we have not even talked one bit about a number or an actual cost yet, but stick with me, because as you can probably see, while I can't answer this question for everybody who's watching across Canada who might have the question about what it's going to cost them to build in 2023 and beyond, the whole practice here is to teach you the way to think about this question, because you really have to get hyper local and hyper specific about what you're talking about building, or else you can make some mass errors in judgment when you're formulating your upfront assumptions about what it's going to cost you to build, and doing so might cause you to go ahead and overspend on a piece of land or take on a project that you never should have started in the first place. So you have to be very careful here and very specific, and generalities really just don't do us that much good. So even though I can throw around some prices for you, which I'll do in a minute here, if you don't have them pinned into your market and your type of build, they're just going to lead you astray and potentially lead you down a very wrong path. So let's move into some specifics. I live in Peterborough, Ontario. That's our market. We're about an hour and a half northeast, primarily east of Toronto in Ontario. And currently in our area, if you were to survey a handful of custom builders and ask them what it's going to cost you to build a 2,000 square foot bungalow with moderate to slightly improved finishings from just baseline, they're going to tell you an answer somewhere in the range of $420 to $450 a square foot. So you can do the math from there and see what that's going to cost, because you can play with that number. That's going to change depending on whether you want to build a 1,600 square foot bungalow, which is still a decent size, all the way down to a 1,200 square foot bungalow, or right up to 2,400 square foot bungalow. And this number, again, is going to flip if you're looking at building a 2-story, because 2 stories will bring down the price per square foot, because you're getting more total inside finished square footage for the same foundation and roof area. So you're getting more bang for the buck on those common elements. Now, $425 to $450 a square foot with a turnkey builder. What's it going to cost you to build it yourself? And what's it going to cost you in your market? What's that number in your market? These are questions that you're really going to want to answer before you embark on buying land. And if that's something that you're looking at doing, I'm really excited to say that I have been working over the past 6 months on creating a course, which at this point is focused on Canadians. And it's about how to think about this stuff leading up to when you buy land. That's our first course. And we have a second one that is about everything start to finish within a build, where we've actually been filming on an actual owner build site and taking you step by step through how to think about each phase of construction. Now, what I am really excited about right now is that we have started a community, or a group, that this course content is going to be housed in. And if you're watching this video when it first came out, we're letting people into this community for free until this course content is done. So once I'm actually done filming and editing this course, which the first mini course, which is fully about the feasibility aspect of what's involved before you buy land, all these things that we just talked about here in this video, before you go out and buy land, how do you assess how much you can actually afford to pay for that land and still pull off a build and have some margin or some buffer in it if you were to have to sell in a year or two down the road? And then also, what other things do you need to know about? What don't you know right now about building a home, or taking on the GC role yourself, or even just hiring a custom builder and financing the construction? That's everything that we're going to talk about. And we're letting everybody into that community for free up until I finish, finalize, edit, and roll out all of that content in the course. So if you're interested, you'll find a link down below for our group. It's on a community called School, so you don't have to be on Facebook. It's got a great mobile app. Just super excited to have discussions about everything to do with what's involved in your owner builder build, or taking on a custom build, what the prices are in everybody's area, and getting some good, genuine Canadian discussion going on this for people who are really seriously thinking about buying land and building a custom home in the next couple of years. So go on down, check out the link in the description. If this video is relevant for you, I'm going to be putting out more stuff like this, so consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.